dinosaurs. I'm gonna eat your brains. Ah! What, you don't like dinosaurs? Dinosaurs are literally the coolest thing on the planet. Did you know that dinosaurs were discovered after George Washington was president? Like, he was already dead. That was kind of cool because he didn't even know dinosaurs existed, which means that he just thinks that humans were around with woolly mammoths. And he doesn't even know anything about dinosaurs. But there's so many different colors of dinosaurs. Like, you look at the kids' movies and there's like orange and purple and all of these rainbow dinosaurs, but that's not it. Literally, dinosaurs come in colors that we don't even know exist because we kind of just decide what dinosaurs are going to get. Did you know that dinosaur is derived from the Greek terminology that means terrible lizard?
Special interest is a very focused or narrow area of study, or it's a subject, or it's a thing that an autistic person feels very passionately about and loves very much. Autistic people will often collect information related to their special interests and organize it in lists or graphs or charts or collections. But that's not a requirement for something to be a special interest. Special interests are a part of being autistic that is really more of a difference or a difference in neurotype than a disability.
I'm a terrible lizard. I'm going to eat your brains. I love dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are so cool. I wish I could meet a dinosaur. You know what? I think that my favorite dinosaur is the Melanosaurus. Melanosaurus. Mathemator. We'll figure that one out when we get home. But they're an herbivore. And so many dinosaurs were herbivores, which means that we shouldn't even be scared unless we were going to get stepped on. Because it's actually more likely for humans to be stepped on by dinosaurs than to be eaten by dinosaurs. Because dinosaurs didn't even like how human tasted. Which means we and dinosaurs coexisted for thousands of years. But also, we don't really know how time works either. That's why we look at the Bible. But the Bible's wrong. Because if you think about how, like, before Christ and after Christ happened, it's been rewritten over and over and over. Like, for all we know, the dinosaurs could have wrote the Bible. And we don't even know that. I wish the dinosaurs wrote the Bible. Dinosaurs are literally the coolest. I bet dinosaurs are smarter than us. I bet dinosaurs got off of this burning hellhole called Earth and moved on to some other planet, and that's where they're living, instead of being extinct. And they just made it look like they were dead. How do you like that? Sarah? You want to play house? You want to play house? Earlier, I was in my MUFI meeting, which is our virtual formal gathering since we can't be in person this year, of course. Anyway, we were playing this game. It's like Pictionary, but online. Anyway, this one guy got the word adorable, but none of us knew what that was. It was kind of abstract. He drew a bear. He drew a sun. He drew like these little woodland creatures. People were guessing like insane things, and we had absolutely no idea what he was saying. And it was really funny. We were all like cackling, and then he, like, the timer timed out, and it displays the word, and it said adorable, and we were all very confused. But I was like, how would you encapsulate that word? Like, that's not a good game to put, not a good word to have in that game. And we were lighting candles, and I couldn't figure out where the lighter was, and so I looked in the most logical spot, which is the fireplace, because there's fire, and that creates fire. And so I figured it was like by the fireplace, or like on the bookshelf around it, something like that. And then my friends were saying things, and I just like wanted to tell them about polar bears, but I couldn't because like polar bears are super fascinating, specifically the fact that they like are one of the best bears on the planet, but they're also endangered, which is kind of sad. But also, so the thing that lights fires was not with the fireplace. This is because everything comes out of his mouth.
Oftentimes, social situations are hard and awkward for people both who are on the spectrum and people who are talking to people who are neurodivergent. But this symptom of social norms that people with autism try to fit into is called camouflaging or masking, where they learn to cope with systems and situations in ways where they fit better. But Spectrum News highlights in their article talking about camouflaging that nearly everyone makes small adjustments to fit in better to conform to social norms. But camouflaging calls for constant and elaborate effort. Moreover, it can help women with autism minimize the stigmas surrounding relationships and careers, but those gains often come at a heavier cost, including physical exhaustion and extreme anxiety. The article goes further to state that camouflaging is often about desperate measures and sometimes subconscious efforts. This means that it is something that is socially ingrained within people who were born biologically female because that is how society tends to raise them. Moreover, this means that people who are on the spectrum oftentimes will mask in social situations and seem normal. However, saying that somebody looks autistic or doesn't look autistic means absolutely nothing, and instead can be detrimental for people who identify as part of the spectrum. Masking is not invalidating, but rather it is something that explains why many people on the autism spectrum look like they are socially apt, when in all actuality, what's going on in here is way different than what you see on the outside. Stores have gross doors and lots of people from people on the spectrum. People on the spectrum try to look like others while shopping to become less noticed. Often, people on the spectrum are drawn to their special interests while shopping.
Read all about our journey, from leaving our careers and starting from scratch, to chase after our dream while building a family and a design studio.
When I'm embarking on a new project, I like to step away from the screen and put pen to paper. In our exclusive Target edition of our book, Make Life Beautiful, we created a journaling experience to help you set identity, strength,
Shopping as an activity or going to stores can be extremely overstimulating. Even when people who are on the spectrum are shopping and seem to be like the average shopper, there is much more going on inside of their heads.
I'm more likely to be
love Animal Crossing. It's so much fun. It's so creative. There's so many things that I can do with it. Like, you can have so many different villagers. I think that's pretty cool. Well, you can only have 10. Well, everybody can have 10. But technically, if I wanted to add another account on my Switch, I could have another person on my island. That could just be me. So technically, like, duplicates of me, but like in 2 alternate universes. But what's kind of cool is that each week, the villagers get to ask you if they want to move out. So it's technically every other week, but like, also what's kind of cool about it is that you can rig the system, so you can technically get 2 new villagers in the same week if you get somebody at the campsite. The campsite is really cool because you get random villagers. The thing that sucks about it is that you get people like Frida. Frida's so ugly. Frida is both a like sheep that wears a hot dog and a hamburger. It doesn't make any sense. But on top of that, what's another thing that's kind of cool about it is that if you don't like the villager that's in the campsite, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you can just go villager hunting, which you do with Nook Mile tickets. I have a lot of Nook Mile tickets. I'm a part of a bunch of different like groups on Facebook. I'm a part of 3 that are 25 and up. I'm not 25, but they don't know that. But that's okay, because I win a lot of different contests, and what's kind of cool about it specifically is that I can get Nook Mile tickets. This last time, I sold Octavian, which is a villager that a lot of people wanted, and somebody offered me 20 Nook Mile tickets, and I was like, sure, that's fine, whatever. And then she took over an hour to get there, so instead she gave me 100 Nook Mile tickets, 2 stacks of gold, which is 16 gold nuggets, and then 1 stack of each star fragment. So
It's important to realize that even if you do not understand as a neurotypical what somebody's special interest is or why they care so much about it, it's not your job. Your job is to sit back, listen, and be respectful, because their special interests, could be helpful someday.
Celeste does a lot of those type of things, so when Celeste is on my island, I get new DIYs, but what's kind of cool is you can trade different DIYs, and there's so many different things to the game, like you create your own universe. Also, there's resource sharing, so it's also feminist. But additionally, there is so many creative things. Like, I have this friend, her name's Ting Ting, and she lives in Hong Kong, and specifically, we play this game all the time, but because there's a time difference, I have to play super early in the morning, and she has to play really late at night. But it's okay, because then we can sit here and we can talk, and we talk over Facebook, like the Messenger app. But that's also kind of cool, because then we end up with like the same villagers and stuff. And so like, I have Marina, which is kind of cool. My friend Jen had Marina too, and so we talked about it. We even had Octavian together, but it's kind of cool because it's just like the replica of the villager. It's not the exact same villager, but then you can also change their names and their catchphrases. I love the fact that like one of my villagers calls me Puff Puff, which is really puff, but with 2 P's. It's not how you spell puff, but it's supposed to be endearing, and I understand that. I kind of like that. Oh, I also have 3 tier 1 villagers. That means that they're super popular. I've never been popular, but I have popular villagers. I have Stitches, Marina, oh, and I even have Zucker. I don't like Zucker. He's ugly. But my island is pink and blue, just like me, split in half.
It's important to note that what you just saw was a portion of one person's story who is on the spectrum. However, this does not mean that you know what it's like to be on the spectrum, nor are you qualified to diagnose it. But it does mean that you know a little bit about how autism can affect other people, and people you may not notice.